Hi everyone, Jaymes Mansfield here bringing you yet another video. Oh my god, you guys, we are doing a wig transformation today because I got from a very loyal and loving subscriber named Carl Brain wigs that were actually used on the set in the production of the Marvelous Mrs Maisel. That's right, Amazon Prime Fabuloso show starring Rachel Brosnahan and Alex Borstein. These were actually from like the blowout sale. They had an estate sale because, well, it's their final season coming up, so we're getting rid of everything. And Carl went to the sale that happened in Brooklyn on the low and found these for me. And they are some wigs, all right. Like, he sent me this big old box of wigs that they sold him for exactly $40 for the whole lot. I don't know what the quality is. I have not looked through them, so let's take a look right now. First things first, for authenticity purposes, he sent me a B. Altman and Company bag from the show. Check that out. Welcome to B. Altman. Oh my God. season two, so good. Oh, he also sent me cat-eye glasses. Check that out. Ooh, I look like Barbie. My head looks so huge with these little tiny glasses on. Now let's see what these wigs all look like. Let me get the box right now. We have a big giant box of wigs. Let's go through and see what they all look like. We have here a little, what the hell is this? It's a little wiglet. Oh, it's a full wig. Okay, it's got a scalp on it. Now, a lot of these wigs, like he was telling me, like, I don't know where the hell they were in the show, but they were definitely here. So we have a light brown wig. Oh, a blonde wig. Platinum blonde hair. Love it. Love that for me. Let me see what the tag says. Okay. Does it give me a date when this was made? All it says is that it's made from 100% non-flammable synthetic fiber. Origin from Japan, wig made in Bangladesh. Oh, it actually might be a vintage one looking at it because look at the cap on it. It's a netting. So I don't know exactly where I could place this. It's definitely not 60s or 50s. Probably more like 80s, 1980s does the 50s. We have another wiglet, also has the netting inside. What you will find is like from a lot of like costume wig brands from like the 80s and 90s, they used to do this netting before they started doing like the free tracks on the ribbon. There was these netting inside of it. But this is another hard front, platinum blonde. I'm looking through these and like there are some wild colors in here. If I had to place where exactly they came from, or what scene they were even in, like this one especially, this Ronald McDonald, Tina Burner wig, and there's a clip in it too. There's a mic clip in it. Oh no, it's just a clip to hang the wig up. Never mind. That's fun. This wig, where did they wear this? If I had to place it, if I were a guessing woman, I would say they might be like wigs that the extras wore in the burlesque hall scenes. Like when she was working in the burlesque house, that might be where it's from. Like the platinum and these red ones. But some of them vary. There's like, there's one that's like platinum white. Again, I think it's another burlesque wig. It's a half wig. So they blended this with someone's hair probably. We also have a little small wig like this. Like I don't know if it was used on a man or if it was used on a woman. Actually, I'll put this wig on her. Oh yeah, she's serving. Yes. If I had to guess, I would say this is probably an extra from when they shot The Apollo with Shy Baldwin. I think this might be a way they used an extra for that because it's not grand enough to really read period, but it's, you know, enough of a style that women wore back then to where they could put it in the background and the foreground and it just looks like it, you know, it's of that era. So that's fabulous. Let's see, what else do we have? Ooh. Ooh, these are fun. Okay, so here we go. These are ones I'm probably gonna end up using. There's more wig clips in this. Let me take it out before I cut myself. Little hooks to like hang them up. This is fun. This is probably not vintage, I'm guessing. Like if it's vintage, it's like 80s vintage. They are bump wigs. Like check it out. It's got the vintage cap in it, the netting. I'm guessing it's probably from the 1980s, does the 60s, but it has the dome in it. Like the little dome on top that give you a bump. Here, I'll show you. Like it's a natural bump right here and it's hard. But it's meant to like, you know, be combed up to give you natural height without having to like do a lot of back combing. And this one is just the same. It's a nicer quality, so I might actually use this one. I think I'll use both of these actually, because why not? That'd be fun. But it also has the dome on the inside. And this one's a lot bigger too. And look at the size of that netting. Are there dates in this? Where are they from? Non-flammable, wig made in China. It doesn't give you any kind of like record of when or like what the date or period it's from, but it's definitely not 60s. I'm guessing these are from the 80s. Latest the 80s. All right, so I'm gonna get my wig head right here and we're gonna get started on styling a wig from the Marvelous Mrs Maisel. Be right back. All right, we are back. Now, as I look through these wigs, this is the one I'm choosing to style today because it's gonna get us that most 1960s authenticity that we want from like Marvelous Mrs Maisel. And also it's just like, I can't help but like style these wigs whenever I come across them because I just adore them. Like these wigs with the little beehive bump in them, they're so much fun. So I'm just combing through the end so I can start teasing it because these wigs were made to be styled. All right, they're costume wigs and they're probably like made for like productions, I'm guessing, of like Leader of the Pack or something along that nature, Grease, where it had like 1950s, 1960s, didn't really quite matter, but like it needed to have that feel to sum up that, you know? And especially in the 1980s, like music from the 1960s and 1950s were having like a big revival. So it makes sense because it's not exactly period accurate when you look at it. That's how you can kind of spook it. Like the 80s wigs, they're always off a little bit. And like they kind of trickled into modern days, like remaking of these wigs. Like you see like modern ones of this. There is one that's on Amazon all the time, like that fembot wig where it has the giant cone on it. They always have this similar design where it's got the big bang in the front, like the Ramones, and like the beehive right here on top. Like this is like, you know, this is the blueprint for the costume beehive wig. And I'm looking through it, like there is permatease on the base already. So like girls could realistically plop this on and just run a brush through it and be ready to go. Or they can go nuts and really like style it. But if I had to guess, this had to be like something they used for like Leader of the Pack. Or like stuff like that. Because again, in the 1980s, oldies revival was like a huge thing. Like PBS and all that would always be running specials where they show like the artists of yesteryear. Watch Leslie Gore sing her greatest hits. The Shirelles, Ronnie Spector, you know, Connie Francis. They would all like come back and like have big 80s hair and long nails and sing all their songs from the 50s and 60s. It was such a thing back then. And it was so popular, especially with like movies like Dirty Dancing coming out, where it was more based in the period of the 1960s. People were really like into it, like the throwback, remembering it. Because that's when kids of the 80s parents were growing up, were the 50s and 60s. So they liked that nostalgia. It was very marketable. Kind of like nowadays, we're going back to the nostalgia from my childhood. I'm experiencing it. Now I'm at an age where like I was expected to have children. All the media marketed towards me now is like stuff from my childhood. Like they're bringing back That 70s Show and stuff like that. Which is like, girl, that is such a multifaceted onion right there. A throwback show about a throwback. It's like, you know, it's That 90s Show now. And also it's like, not even a portion of the 90s I would even remember. It's like what my sisters would have remembered. As we go through, we are going to tease her out. Now, the Marvelous Mrs Maisel, I kind of discovered during lockdown. And I started watching the whole thing because I heard really good things about it. Because I heard it's like a proto, loosely Joan Rivers-esque kind of like story. So I was like, okay, I like it. You know, female comedian, I'm there. Honey, I got so invested. It's embarrassing how much I love that show. Like, I was so into it. And not just because of like the aesthetics, like that's obvious. But just like the writing and everything. Like, I was never a big Gilmore Girls fan. But Amy Sherman-Palladino, it's just like ping pong matches, you know, like table tennis. Of dialogue going back and forth. Like it's very dialogue heavy, which I'm super into. It's like I love acting that's very dialogue heavy. It's like I always like those kind of movies. On the one where Quentin Tarantino every 5 years has that one movie where it's just full of dialogue. I'm there. Every 4 years there's a talker. We all know. It's like I often choose Jackie Brown over Pulp Fiction. I'm not ashamed to admit that. But also it has Pam Grier, so it's really not that hard a decision to make. But no, Mrs. Maisel, like, so good. And like, even just the setup, like it's one of those shows where like you watch the first episode and you're automatically like, oh yeah, I've made a mistake. I'm gonna be watching this forever now. Like I gotta finish this. And even just like little things they brought into the series that I really, really like the incorporation of Alex Borstein, girl. We all know Alex Borstein from like Mad TV. Like that's probably like where everyone thinks of her from. But I don't remember her being in like a lot of TV shows that was like where she was a central character in a role. But her as Susie is everything. And I love just like how ambiguous she is too. Like you don't really get to know a whole lot about her personal life. She's just so career oriented. And like even some of the later seasons explore that and like try to, and she completely shut it down because it's like she's no. I'm about becoming successful. and making my clients successful. And that's all I care about. She's like, I don't need a personal life. It's so refreshing, especially considering that time period. Most of the stuff centered and focused on females and women were all about women falling in love. And like, there is a bit of that in the show, but like a lot of it is mostly about just her chasing the career and trying to be taken seriously as a comedian. And the women in her life trying to be taken seriously as businesswomen, like her mom and her friend. Like, they all find power in independence. And of course, we have to talk about the fashion. I love modern vintage. Like, that's one of my obsessions. A lot of my clothes that you see on this channel are all like modern vintage clothes. Mrs. Maisel is like clothing erotica for anyone that loves modern vintage. It's just so overly done, so glossy, so fantasized. And like within a realm of like privilege with the character where she can afford very nice, beautiful things because of the people she knows. And like, they knew what they were doing when they made her ex-husband's father a maker of a dress factory so that they could constantly just have the most beautiful, gorgeous clothes just filtered in and out of the episodes. So smart. They never have to make an excuse for like, how is she getting all these clothes? Whew. Okay, well, I am going to tease the rest of this and I'll be right back. All right, we are back. Now, I'm starting on the second wig already. I already teased it out. I got the back piece all teased out right here. I'm making a big bubble of teasing because I'm going to turn this into like a stick-on for the top of it. But not your usual like blend together double stack. It's going to be like a styled portion of the double stack. I want to make like a big beehive to put on top, sort of like Amy Winehouse-y, Ronnie Spector. And why not use these wigs to their full potential? Because this is what they were made for, was to be styled in this direction. So we're doing the vintage beehive way where we did a huge cloud of teasing. And a lot of the girls back in the day, they would use like toppers like this, like a dome they could just pin on top of their head with hair on top of it and just tease the crap out of it so they don't have to tease their real hair. And then they would just blend it with their natural hair. But I made a big ball, and the way you do a beehive is you just drag your comb along the top of it, the surface level, and smooth it to create like a smooth layer like that. And like a lot of times when I see beehives done, like especially back then, these wigs, most of the time when you see costumes, they would just wear the wig as was. Like they wouldn't even style it. This is how it was made to be styled. Like you're supposed to do this with it. That's why they put the big bump in there. It's like to give you that extra height. Most people just thought, well, it's already got the height in it, so I think I'm done. It's like, no, you're not done. You still gotta do more work.
I graded your homework. It's incomplete.
I just let it wrap around like that. Y'all probably see me wear a couple wigs like this where it's got like the beehive on top. It's one of my signature looks that I do. Right now it's a little Russell Brand on top. But like Marvelous Miss Maisel, like it grows on you. That's what I have to say. Like if you're debating watching it, definitely give it a chance. Like you gotta make it through season 2. Because season 1 and season 2 was very just like everything sort of happens for her. There's very little like struggle that happens. Like Midge is very, very privileged when it comes to like being able to leave her like life behind and become a comic because, she's rich. She comes from a rich family. But by the end of season 2 and the beginning of season 3, as it all starts to unfold, like she loses a lot. And like she really just starts to go through it. And that's what I like. It's like you're taken on this journey. It's like the merry-go-round. Like it's really, really fun, but then it has to come to an end and you have to go back to real life. And like the reality really starts to set in for her and it's so good. But I also love just like little things that they brought in from the times that isn't really talked about anymore. Like she has a rival comedian that she has to work with that is like a monster. And it's like a coded variation of like many of those old, like of that time comedians where they are like character actors that just got into comedy and now they're stuck doing it. And you can tell like they are just the most bitter people in the world. It's like they have this gimmick, they cannot leave it behind. Like they can't do anything else. And like they take it out on other people around them. And especially when you hear some of the stories of certain women comedians that just like hated other women, it really like resonates. It makes for such good television. And what I like about Amy Sherman Palladino's like writing is like, even those characters that are written off to be villains, if they return or something, like they get arcs and they have development and things happen with them where like you start to care about them. It's really well written. All right, let's pull that one off because that's just a topper piece. So set her to the side and bring back our main character. So here she is all teased out in her glory and she is glorious. Like check her out. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we lower a bit so I can put the stack in. I'm gonna tuck under the bangs in this one and place it on top. It looks so goofy. I can't. That's how she looks before she's even pinned on. but she's already like such a 60s style. You just have to blend it a little more. But first things first, I'm going to get this pinned on. So that's going to be really intense and I have to like really go through a lot of stuff. So I'm going to zip tie it real quick and I'll be right back. And if you're wondering how I zip tie wigs, I have a dedicated video that shows you how to do it. So I'll link that down below for you. So I'm gonna get these connected and joined and I'll be right back. All right, I am back. It is all stacked up. Now I'm just adding teasing to part of the hair so I can wrap it around this beehive. So I'm just doing a little bit like that. Show you. Because I'm gonna end up smoothing it anyway. It's just to like wrap around the beehive, make it even larger. And honestly, all I'm doing here is just like doing my best to make everything look dressy, because we want her to be a hair hopper. And if you want, you could also be pinning it too. That's gonna add like an extra layer of security. Oh my God, it is so 60s. I love it. I know, what was I talking about? Yeah, Miss Maisel. So what I love about season 2 and 3 is like they start to go more and more into like the early 60s, which you very rarely see in that kind of lens in like television and media. They rarely ever go into that. Like the early 60s, like during war times, before the Beatles, like the world was so different. And like music and entertainment, like it was still a lot of entertainers holding on to like the aesthetics of the 50s. They were still coming to grasp with like these new things that were coming in, like teasing your hair big and everything that a lot of the younger generation was doing. Like there were still a lot of people that like held on to certain fashion trends way too long. And the Marvelous Mrs Maisel like explores that too. Like there's one moment that happens that cracks me up where Shy Baldwin's girls do her hair and she hates it, but she looks so cute. It's like done up in like these big barrel curls with a hairpiece and everything, and like she can't, everyone is talking crap about it, but she actually looks really chic and like in of the times. It's like the best her hair ever looked. But it was just like that, like she sticks to a very rigid like beauty regimen of what she likes to look like. And she really liked that tight pin curls. But like even in season 3 and 2, when it's getting more into the 60s, she starts to look a little bit more dated. And I think it's also a good shorthand for how things start to go wrong for her, and the stuff that worked before doesn't work anymore. Generally what I would do is take it off the head and just start smoothing it in a circle, but I can make it work. We'll be fine. Oh yeah, she's coming together. She'll be just fine. We got a good wrap around going here. Oh my God, it's so big. I cannot take it. That cracks me up. All right, let's figure out our back here. I think we're gonna smooth it out. I think we're gonna wear it long. It's gonna be like one of those kind of days, one of those girls. Or very Soho hair in London. A lot of girls in London wear their hair like this. If you look at stuff from the 60s, they love them a big old stick on in the back. Like I love those Pathé videos where they talk about like the hair trends of girls in like London and England. All the city girls are wearing their hair in beehives now. Like hair pieces are in. She's looking cute, but it's giving like very Cher in the 1960s. Like if you look like Cher, early Cher, before Sonny and Cher was the thing, when she was a backup singer for Phil Spector. She used to have big stick-on hair pieces like this with the long Cher bang and like bone straight. That's what I think this is missing, is a blunt bang. We need to cut a bang into this. Now, it's all debate of how you want to wear it. You can wear it down like that, like Cher, or you can twist it, pull it up, or, you know, pin it up. There's so many things you can do. Or you can cut the sides here and make it more of like a defined look to cut out the cheeks if you don't have cheekbones. So many things you can do with 60s hair to make everything look different with this hairstyle that all kind of has a similar look. That's what I love. It's like the imagination went wild with the 60s. All right, well, I think I just have to smooth it out a little bit. I'm going to trim the bang and I'll be right back with the cleaned up final result. Welcome back. This is the final result. And girl, yes, this is some 1960s hair down. Okay, this is one of the biggest beehive I have ever done. Even bigger than like the Ronnie Spector beehive I did. Like, this is gigantic. My God. It's like Amy Winehouse level. Anyways, I had to thank you guys so much for watching this video and hearing me talk all about the Marvelous Mrs Maisel. Like, I'm not even sponsored. I just love the show that much, okay? Thank you, Carl Brain, again for sending me these wigs. And also, I have to take a moment, a Venmo moment where I thank everyone who's tipped me on Venmo. I would like to thank Patrick, Michelle, Kat again. Oh my gosh, thank you, Kat. Patrick again. Sarah, oh my God, Sarah, thank you so much. You are doing the most and I appreciate you. And of course, Sergio. as well as a YouTube super thanks from Roger. Thank you so much, Roger. Oh, also, speaking of, Roger was so sweet to send me some gifts. I got Christmas gifts from Roger. Let me go grab them quick. Okay, here we go. Here's how awesome my subscribers are, okay? Roger, thank you so much. He actually sent me Poppy Parker, like a dream date. So it's Poppy Parker, and that's her boyfriend, or at least her date for the day, you know, because Poppy Parker, she lives a very busy life. She's a very, really, really highly detailed doll from Integrity, you know, the Integrity Toys. Although her stand seems to want to like rebel against me. She does not want to stay in it. She's all dressed for a day at the slopes.
I'm Poppy Parker, and I look like a...
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Now, I hope you guys had a fun time. If there's any other wigs you want to see me style, please list them down below. I'll be happy to like take them in consideration. Now, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, bye. Now hit the outro. Click here and watch a domestic goddess and two himbos try to make Christmas cookies. Or so you talk about Nightmare on Elm Street while I do my makeup. Come on, click it, you know you want to. If you don't click it, I'll tell everyone how bad your breath is in the morning. So click it.